In the 1920s, sports for women were reserved for the wealthy class, who enjoyed their individual sports like golf, tennis, and marathon swimming. Team sports for women were more popular than individual sports. They most often played basketball, ice hockey, and lacrosse. Women's and girls' athletics had just begun to be more possible in the 1930s. Without early developments such as the Women's Athletic Association established in 1929, the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League would have been less successful and less accepted. Early organizations like the WAA served as stepping stones to a huge turning point in women's athletics, the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League. The formation of the Aagpbl reflected new opportunities for women, but femininity was still present.
A major factor for the development of the league was because of the large amount of men involved in World War II. Major League Baseball had a real possibility of being shut down for the duration of the war. Because of this possibility, Philip K. Wrigley, owner of the Chicago Cubs, established the league. Even after it became known that the MLB wasn't going to be postponed, Wrigley kept on pursuing the league. The president had a lot of support for the league in the face of the lack of men at home. This is a letter from FDR. I honestly feel that it would be best for the country to keep baseball going. There will be fewer people unemployed and everybody will work longer hours and harder than ever before. And that means that they ought to have a chance for recreation and for taking their minds off their work even more than before. Here's another way of looking at it. If 300 teams use 5,000 or 6,000 players, these players are a definite recreational asset to at least 20 million of their fellow citizens. And that, in my judgment, is thoroughly worthwhile.
Wrigley, the entrepreneur of the league, emphasized the fact that they were women playing baseball. He publicized the league as an entire women's show and therefore uniquely separate from the men's baseball. He attempted to achieve this way of publicizing by designing a feminine uniform, by creating player conduct rules, by assigning team chaperones, and by teaching players the feminine charm. The designing of a feminine uniform came from tennis, field hockey, and figure skating uniforms of the time. The uniform consisted of a one-piece dress with a short, full, flared skirt. Most players accepted and adjusted to the change in the attire because they just wanted to play. Joyce Hill Westerman admitted, "I was embarrassed to play in skirts to begin with. I just love to play ball so much, I told myself, it can't matter. It doesn't take me long to adjust."
We're the members of the All-American League. We come from cities near and far. We got Canadians, Irish ones and Swedes. We're all for one, we're one for all. We're all American.
Femininity was emphasized in these behavioral rules that they had to follow off the field. The chaperones were women who kept a close eye on the players so their parents didn't have to worry. They supervised the players' behavior off the field and took good care of them. Without the chaperones, many 15 to 20-year-olds would not have been a part of the league because their concerned parents would have kept them home. Madeline Maddie English explained, "My mother and father were reluctant to let me go at first because my brother and sister were in the Marines, but they were both sports-minded. They followed me a week later and met Wrigley, the managers, and the chaperone. They saw that things were well conducted and that we were well taken care of and that they kept us busy."
In order to promote the league as an acceptable league, they offered the players training in feminine charm. An international beauty salon taught the players the proper way to put on makeup, posture, and the proper way to carry oneself as an entertainment spectacle. Many sports writers ridiculed the beauty training. However, some players responded positively to the beauty training. For example, Tibby Eisen responded positively. Charm school was only during spring training when everyone was together. I loved it. Being from Los Angeles, I was used to following the movie stars. I wanted to learn to walk and dress and talk. And to me, it was the right thing.
Isabel Lefty Alvarez recalled her league experience at the league reunion in Syracuse, New York in 2003. For Lefty, success in life did not depend on formal education. Instead, as she was quick to point out, the league provided her with what she needed to be an independent woman. I am here in America, she explained, looking back on her life years later. I have money, I retired from a good job, and can buy what I want. That is all true because I played in the league. And it wasn't only her opportunity to immigrate and have access to a well-paying job that the league provided. Being in the league, playing professional baseball, gave her the education she needed. It taught her how to fight, how to lose, and how to win, and most important, to never stop swinging.
Women ball players, though eternally grateful for their opportunity to play baseball, were also faced with many newfound challenges. Rules and guidelines were confining and gave the manager unnecessary power over them, even though they were grown adults. Women were forced to choose between having a family and playing a professional sport. Some women had to bring along their children to every game and even have them in a dugout during games. This is why it was the first step for female athletes. They were being more respected and paid attention to in the sports world, but were still always a step behind men. The league is a rare example where women's sports were more viewed than men's sports. Chaperone Helen Hannah Campbell explained how awful the sores were that the players got from sliding in the skirt. They wouldn't allow me to put a dressing on that would stay on, and then have to put any kind of shorts on top of it. Then the next thing, they were in the ball game, and they'd slide into second base and pull all that stuff off. Oh, it was an icky job. I felt sorry for them because some of those sores would last a whole season.
The players were recognized in 1986 in the Hall of Fame. Ted Spencer, the former vice president and chief curator of the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum, started working at the museum in 1985. After looking at a pamphlet and some baseball cards about the league, he became interested. After an article was written in the LA Times calling for the league artifacts for the exhibit, the museum's collection of artifacts vastly grew, enough for the exhibit to open. We wanted to deal with the umpires and college girls too. We wanted to go where the story takes us, like the Philadelphia Bobbies. The exhibit not only informed about the league, but also about umpires and other women's athletics. On regular November days, 300 to 400 visitors came to the Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum. On the day the new exhibit opened on November 5, 1988, over 1,100 people came to see it. This provided the public with more information about women's sports throughout history.
The league created the unique opportunity for women to be recognized as professional athletes. There was still a major inequality between men's and women's sports. The formation of the league happened because there were not enough men, and the men took the place of the women professional baseball athletes once they returned to the U.S. However, though the Aagpbl only served for a time, women became more recognized and appreciated, which is a sentiment that would go beyond the time of the war.